Hey guys, it's great to have you back here today. Before we dive into the main topic, I want to share something real quick. Maybe you've been through the same thing. You got a few small metal repairs to do at home. You pull out the welder, and suddenly the power feels weak. It just won't work properly, and you can't figure out what's wrong. Now, if you take it to the shop, they'll usually charge almost half the price of a brand new machine. And buying a new one, that's even more expensive. For a man like me, working hard to support a family of 7, that's not an easy choice. Every month, bills stack up: food, school fees for the kids, medicine for the elders, and those come first. So when something breaks down, I can't just rush out and throw money at the problem. A welder might look like a small tool, but for me, it's a way to save money on repairs, to handle things on my own without calling in someone else. That's why spending big money on fixing it or buying new isn't always practical. So I started thinking, is there a way to make the old welder useful again? Maybe not perfect, but at least strong enough to handle small and medium-sized repairs around the house without draining my wallet. And out of that thought, I came up with a temporary solution, simple and practical, that I believe could save a lot of you from unnecessary expenses. And today, I'm going to share that with you. Here I've got a tray full of small parts, spark plugs and motorcycle valve stems. I once made a video about using spark plugs for a welding tool. This time, let's switch it up and go with the valve stem. The idea is ready, so let's not waste any more time. Let's get to work. Here I've got a wooden handle already made, just the right size to fit comfortably in my grip. I'm going to use it as the handle for this homemade welder. Once the wooden handle is firmly secured in the vise, we'll drill a hole straight through it, sized exactly to match the threaded body of the valve stem. Alright, the drilling is done. Now, let's set it back in the vise and get ready for the next assembly step. First step, remove the nut and washer from the valve stem. Sorry guys, I almost forgot. We won't mount the valve stem directly into the drill hole in the handle. We'll need a small extra part to secure it firmly. The part I'm talking about is this grinder flange. First, we'll attach the valve stem to flange, then secure the whole piece onto the wooden handle by driving screws through the 2 holes on the flange. I know the explanation sounds a bit rushed, but in just a moment it'll all make sense. It's a bit uneven, so I'll widen the hole slightly. Alright, let's drive the screws in and secure it. With the screws tightened, we can consider the handle part done. Now let's move on to wiring and attaching the welding tip. For this step, I've got a single core wire ready. Next, we'll thread one end from the bottom of the handle up to the top of the valve stem. With the wire fed through, we'll connect it to the welding tip. Feel free to drop your thoughts on my wiring method in the comments below, so I can learn a more effective way to connect. And if you think my approach works well, you're welcome to use it as a reference. I've finished working on this end of the wire, and the only thing left is attaching the welding tip. But of course, it's best to handle the simpler step first, so I'll go ahead and connect the other end of the wire. For those who don't know, this is a crocodile clip and we'll connect a wire to it. The wire connection to the crocodile clip is done. Now let's move on to adding the welding tip. If you've seen my previous welding videos, you're already familiar with using AA battery cores as DIY welding tips. The reason I go for them is simple. AA batteries have carbon rods inside that handle high heat, conduct steadily, and are easy to find around the house. By reusing them, we not only save money on specialized welding tips, but also gain convenience of quick replacements whenever needed. Their compact size makes them perfect for DIY setups, easy to mount and practical to use. All in all, it's a smart solution for anyone building a temporary welder to handle small to medium-sized metal repairs. You can see that removing the battery casing takes me a bit longer, but it's important to do it steadily and safely. Always protect your hands. Don't rush. I once hurried and ended up with a small injury on my hand. It wasn't serious, but what really stayed with me was the worried look in my daughter's eyes when she saw it. That's why I make sure to be more careful now. Alright, the battery core has been taken out and set aside in the cup. Now, let's move on to dealing with the metal casing of the battery. We only need this small piece to drop into the container with the battery cores. The rest can be discarded. To make the flux solution, get a bottle of toilet cleaner like this. Pour some into the container, holding the battery core and that small piece of metal. Did you know? Mixing a battery core with toilet cleaner and a small piece of metal creates a flux solution that cleans the surface, removes rust, improves weld bonding, and focuses the current at the welding point. This makes welding more stable, the joint stronger, and reduces splatter. A simple trick, yet very effective for a DIY homemade welder. After soaking for a while, I'll take the battery core out, dry it, and get it ready for use. I almost forgot. We should grind one end of the battery core to smooth out the edges, so it'll weld more easily. And there we have it, a DIY welding tip made from a battery core, now ready to be attached directly to the valve stem. with the tip attached. The device still won't work yet. Now we'll need to make one more tool. I had already made a wire with one end attached to a crocodile clip. Now, we'll add another clip to the other end. English. I believe this step is truly challenging for anyone new to electrical work. Even a skilled electrician, if they jump straight into practice without studying the theory, as I once did, would find it difficult to clearly explain the complex principle behind it. So I hope you understand. Of course, in this testing step, the small battery is essential. I recommend using a low power source, as that's what's suitable for this temporary device. And remember, don't connect the wires incorrectly. Even if the device still works, it will cause an unwanted opposite reaction. Our device is working successfully. The electric sparks are small, but more than enough for use. Actually, the sparks you saw aren't dangerous as long as you keep the device a bit away from your face. The battery core was slightly damp, so the reaction was perfectly normal. Once it burns off, the device is fully ready for use in any welding task. Now, we'll weld the metal piece from the beginning of the video that didn't get welded. Everyone, enjoy watching the process. Before welding, we'll apply a bit of solution from the jar onto the spot to improve conductivity and ensure a stronger weld. And remember, don't skimp on the solution. Keep applying it whenever the previous weld has cooled to ensure the strongest joint. Before welding, we'll apply a bit of solution from the jar onto the spot to improve conductivity and ensure a stronger weld. That's it. The weld is now solid. But don't jump to conclusions just yet. Let's inspect it carefully one more time before grinding down the rough edges. And that's it. Our DIY battery core welding tip is ready, simple and effective for small metal items. If you found it useful, like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next video.